Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a family game night video because I believe it's important that families sit together and communicate. They have to communicate. That's a given. And since we're stuck together in this forced quarantine, what better way to communicate than over a tabletop role-playing game? One of my favorites is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm going to give you a story from a long time ago. This was from the beginning, actually from the campaign. The longest campaign I ever ran was 14 years, and this is from one of the players there, one of the standout players. Years ago, I was going to start this D&D campaign, and my good friend Bobby and same Bobby from some other videos. He wanted to play something different. He'd played fighters, he'd played thieves, he'd played barbarians, blah 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 blah, and he wanted something different. So it took me a few days, but I worked up a special class, and it's a homespun thing it's a voodoo witch doctor called a Hungan, Houngan, and it was completely homemade for this campaign. It was kind of a thief, druid, necromancer mix. At low levels, it was very, very weak. But it grew in power extensively, starting at around 6th to 8th level when he started getting what's called cauldron magic. Voodoo witch doctors, these Hungans, they have a special kind of magic spell they can do over a cauldron. And their cauldron magic can get quite powerful, especially when they get what's called their domicile. It's a special place of power for them. And they start getting this stuff around 6th level. I believe they get their domicile around 8th level. So that's when they start really coming into their own. Up until then, they're weak. They're decent thieves, but weak druids and passable necromancers, that kind of thing. But nothing major. They're actually very weak up until that point. But Bobby loved it. He loved that character, and I got to say, I didn't actually design it this way, but man, it played to his strengths and the way he thinks. It played to that because he's a devious dude. And Bobby, if you watch this, God bless you. I love the hell out of you. You're a great guy, but man, you're a devious little so and so. Anyway, and then, like I said, this campaign turned into the longest one I've ever run. It lasted 14 years. And over the course of this time, we had an average between 4 and 9 players at any given time. And people would come and people would go. And there's a number of standouts. My friend Larry ran a wizard nicknamed, and he still has the nickname. I believe he's a truck driver now. His handle, I think, is Mr. Wizard or the Wizard, something like that. But we called him Mr. Mage. This man would find loopholes. I mean, a lot of talented people played in this game. This guy would find loopholes that I couldn't counter. And he would get a lot of amazing things done in the game. My friend Angel, he was in it. This was his first campaign, and he played a ninja. There was a guy named Dave who ran a barbarian. I had a married couple, Randy and Cheryl, were playing. Dave's barbarian at one point became a king of a country. Mark and Mark's friend, and I cannot remember Mark's friend. I apologize for that. But they ran a pair of barbarian brothers. You're going to love this. Groaning and Squealing. The Severe Grunt Brothers. I didn't name them, but man, they were great characters. My friend Tim ran a cleric, and Tim runs the best clerics I have ever seen anybody run. Much better than I can do. And again, Bobby ran this Hungan. And everybody underestimated Bobby because I don't really know why. But his Hungan was underpowered at lower levels, so maybe they just took that to be the way it was, and they just went on with it. But he was useful, and he did different things for them. So once Bobby was able to establish his domicile, he started getting a little more powerful, and he started getting access to a little more powerful spells. He started doing things surreptitiously outside of the normal game context. So they're on a mission to do this, and in the downtime, Bobby's doing this other stuff. They're busy, negotiating with a king or a foreign diplomat or something, and Bobby's helping them. But then at night, he's doing this other stuff on the side. Let me explain what this other stuff was. He used normal creatures to acquire hair and other items from specific rulers. Hair and other items, personal possessions, things like that. And what he would do is he would get like a bird and a mouse and like that, and the bird would carry the little mouse, and and drop the mouse off at a certain place, and the bird would hang out, and the mouse would go in and just sneak into somebody else's castle and get hair or a personal possession or whatever was necessary and bring it back to the bird, and the bird would fly it back to Bobby. And this is how he got these materials that he needed for his cauldron magic. Using this, he made puppets out of various kings and queens. So at one point, Dave's barbarian character became the king of a country, and most of the group kind of worked around that, and they worked for him, and blah, 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 blah. Bobby, in the meanwhile, up in his cave, up in the mountain, in his domicile, he was controlling, I want to say, 6 kingdoms, and 6 different kings. It was 6 kings and a queen, if I remember correctly. But he had 7 kingdoms under his control, 7 magnificent armies, and they were all under his control, and nobody knew it. I don't care who you are. That's devious, okay? And you couldn't find a way to stop it, because these kings and these other kingdoms, you can have all the greatest guards in the world, but are they going to guard you against a mouse? A bird? A bird lands on the parapet. What are you going to do about that? You're going to kill every bird that lands? That's stupid. And nobody likes mice, but how are you going to get a mouse? You're going to waste it. Guard, kill all the mice in the castle. Yes, sir. That's stupid. Bobby knew this. Bobby planned it out. Okay? So while the group was happy serving the barbarian king, Bobby was controlling a number of other kingdoms. The Puppetmaster. Bobby, man, you're a brilliant player. I wish you could. I wish you were still here. I wish we could play some more. I miss playing with you. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.